In order for our societies, our communities to get stronger, we have to have a balance. Never am I allowed to forego the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and expect that somehow the rights of the rest of creation will be fulfilled. And vice versa is also true. I cannot forego the rights of my fellow Muslim brothers and sisters and then all of a sudden expect that the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be fulfilled. As a Muslim, we need to have a complete balance in our deen. I spoke about this verse before, but I want to highlight it because of how important it is. I spoke about it several weeks ago, but it's worth repeating just so that we can concentrate on some of the components. When we think about a family, what comes to mind? Who do you think about when you hear a family? Anybody want to give a suggestion? Who do you think about when you hear a family? Friends? MashaAllah. Who do you think about when you hear someone say family?
Mother and father.
Mother and father. Anybody else?
Spider.
Huh? Surah Ankabut? Okay. What else do you think about when you hear family?
Siblings.
Huh? Your Muslim brothers. So mashallah, everybody has this understanding of who is my family. And that's a good sign that people are saying my friends, my parents, my siblings, my uncles, my general. A general kind of trend that you will see today is people's understandings of a family is very limited. It's me, myself, and I. 3 people. What are the 3 people? Me, myself, and I. Nobody else. 3 people are part of my family. Everybody else is secondary. We only think about ourselves. But in Islam, we're taught that my family is so much more broader. My family is much larger. And I'm going to talk about one verse of the Quran that I spoke about before. I want everyone to go through it with me, inshallah, so that we can understand what rights Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has on us, as well as how I can fulfill the rights of all of my other brothers and sisters and my larger family. In Surah An-Nisa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا. Worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and associate no partners to Him. Associate no partners to Him. The first responsibility that I have as a Muslim is my connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How well do I know Allah? When I have troubles, do I turn to Allah? You know, when we think about relationships, right? Everybody has different types of relationship. One is the relationship with the spouse. One is the relationship with your friends. One is the relationship with your parents. But then you have a type of relationship which is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is a relationship which is unlike any other. I mean, think about it. When you feel sad, who do you go to? You go to your best friend, you go to your mom, you go to your dad, you cry to them to let them know how you feel. But when was the last time you went to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we cried? When was the last time I expressed my feelings to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? To know how strong a person's relationship is, you see how much he is in that person's company. You know, sometimes you'll say, man, it seems that you have no other friends but that person. You spend your whole day with that person. Or you spend your whole day playing basketball or playing video games. It seems your only friend is an Xbox. Or your only friend is a basketball. That's the only friend that you have. It seems nothing else. Or your only friend is food. All the time I see you eating food. You know, so people have different types of things that they always keep themselves busy with. But how many times do I turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How frequently do I cry to Him? How frequently do I express my concerns to Him? So our first goal in strengthening our bond as a community, in making ourselves more active, in making ourselves stronger, is before we even worry about one another's rights, we think about the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let me give you an example, right? Imagine there's no one in the masjid, right? And someone left a really nice iPhone. There's nobody in the masjid, there's no cameras, there's nothing. What's to stop me from picking up that iPhone, putting it in my pocket and leaving? What can stop me? Fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Consciousness that Allah is watching me. If I don't have my connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I will forego the rights of other people as well. If somebody says something to me, what prevents me from reacting over, exaggerating in my reaction? Fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this reminds us that however strong your connection is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, proportionately you will be able to fulfill the rights of one another as well. And that's why whenever Allah talks, He starts off by saying, وَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ. Start off with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and inshallah your matters will be dealt with. وَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا. So that part we know, right? We're all Muslims, alhamdulillah, we know our rights and responsibilities to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then we carry on. What's the next step to make my bond stronger, my community stronger? وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. To show kindness to your parents. To be kind to your parents. You know, it's very easy today to say that, you know what, I don't need my parents. You know, I'm strong. I can live on my own. But when we're little kids in our diapers running around with nobody else, you know, there to feed us, where was my statement that, you know what, I can stand on my own 2 feet, I can take care of myself? As human beings, we tend to forget our responsibilities. We forget those who take care of us very quickly. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. As we grow up and as we get more, as they say, independent, we should never forget those who have shown us so much love, and that's our parents. You know, one of the biggest complaints people have today is, you know, my child, I've invested so much into him. As we're growing up, it seems as though he's forgetting me. Right? We should never forget. You know, they say a lot of times, keep your friends close, but keep your parents closer. You know, we think about Yawm al-Qiyamah, right? You think about Yawm al-Qiyamah. Does anybody know what are some of the signs of Yawm al-Qiyamah? You know, the last day, when there's going to be Dajjal, there's going to be the blowing of the trumpet, you know, it's going to be the hereafter. Can anybody tell me some of the signs? Yes?
On a Friday.
Some say it's going to be on a Friday. We don't know the exact date. Some say perhaps it will be on a Friday. Yes?
Mother is going to give birth to their master.
Yes. It also comes that a mother will give birth to her master. That's a good one. Yes?
The sun will rise from the opposite direction.
Yes, the sun will rise from the opposite direction. Yes?
People come from around the world and fight in Mecca.
Yes, mashallah. Anybody else? One sign of the Day of Judgment is a person will keep his friends close and keep his or her parents away. That I know my relationship with my friends are strong, but I'm willing to sacrifice my relationship with my parents. The one thing we should never forget is no matter how it may seem to me, no one can ever show love to me like my parents will show love to me. You know, sometimes it feels as though, you know what, my friends, they're with me right now. You know, this person's with me. I'm willing to sever my ties with my family, my mom, my dad. Never ever have a shadow of a doubt. Generally that is the case. There may be some exceptions, but predominantly, no one can have love for me like my mom and my dad. So that's why when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about His right, He's Allah, He created us. Whatever He talks right after that would be very important. And the first people He talks about after that is who? Your parents. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Never forget your parents. You know, when your parents are able to take care of themselves, it's not so difficult. You know, mashallah, they can take care of themselves. But when they're more elderly, they're in need of our help, we should never forget them. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. So the next part of making my community strong is I don't forget my parents. Just a quick question. How do I take care of my parents when they're alive? Any suggestions? My parents are alive. What's one way of respecting them, showing them some huquq and adab?
Stay close.
Yes?
Stay close.
Stay close to them.
ولا تقل لهما أف.
وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ. Don't ever show discomfort to them. You know, seriously, for the younger among us, we always think to ourselves, our parents seem to be from a completely different planet, right? Or they're from a different generation. They're from a completely different background. They don't understand us. Even though we feel like this, don't ever think that they don't understand us and they're being mean to me. They just want the bad. They want bad out of me. They want to treat me bad. They want my life to be miserable. That's never the case. At times there can be some misunderstanding, but never show discomfort to them. Think about how much they sacrifice for us. Think about how much they do for us. You know, the love that we have to show to our parents. And one thing Allah says, وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ. What does the word uff mean? You can't translate the word uff. The word uff is an expression of discomfort. You know when you're frustrated, you're like, come on. You know, like you just can't control yourself. You just start saying things which are incoherent. The scholars, they say there's no word that can be smaller, lighter in your discomfort than the word uff. Any other word will be more. So Allah is saying, don't say uff, which is the lowest word. So you know your dad's saying, listen, you've been playing video games for 3 hours already. 3 hours. You say, man, I just started 2 minutes ago. No, it's been 3 hours. It's 2 o'clock at night. You start at 11 o'clock. And you're saying, uff, come on, stop making my... Seriously, we have to start being reasonable. Our parents aren't... Like, what will my parent get out of me for me playing a bit less? No, it's for my own good, that I can spend more time studying, waking up for salah. We have to remember, they always have good in mind. Alright, what else can we do for our parents when they're still alive?
Smile.
Yes?
Okay.
Huh?
Good.
What can we do for our parents when they're still alive?
Smile. Smile.
Yes?
Listen to them.
Listen to them, obey them. Yes?
Pray for them.
Yes. That's good, that's good. Yes, mashallah. We pray for them. And that's one thing that we do after they pass away as well. Okay, so when they're alive, we obey them, we listen to them, we also pray for them. So what do we do after they pass away?
You make dua for them.
You make dua for them, mashallah. That's very important. Yes. What else? You visit their graves. Yes. What else?
You also repeat the answers from other people so we can get...
Yes, so you make dua for them, you visit their graves. Charity, yes, mashallah.
دين.
Huh?
قضاء الدين عنه.
You fulfill their debts. One thing that we should also do, and it comes in the ahadith, if they had any relationships, if they had any friends, any connections, we try to maintain those connections. If my father had a really good friend, I will make sure that after his demise, that I will go and meet his friends. I'll try to keep those bonds strong. So anyways, the second thing we need to do to ensure our community is strong is that we take care of our parents. And subhanAllah, it comes in the hadith, whoever takes care of the elderly, when they become old, their children will take care of them. You know, think about it. If I am taking care of my parents, I'm taking care of the elderly in my community, our next generations are going to see that. And they're going to grow up with those morals. But if I'm going to shun them, the same is going to happen to me. So, وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Next, وَبِذِي الْقُرْبَى. My family. My family. My brothers and sisters, my uncles and aunts, my cousins. Right? We have to make sure that our families are kept intact. And it's a good quality, right? That I'm able to know who my family is, I'm able to keep those bonds. وَبِذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى. And the orphans, the poor. The orphans and the poor, وَالْمَسَاكِينَ. Think about this, right? We grew up and we had luxuries that many people don't have in the world. We had people to take care of us. We had people to feed us. We had people to give us what we wanted. Right? We have clothes on our body. But there are people out there who are orphans and who don't have that. Right? And think about it. Allah is reminding us, take care of the orphans. وَالْيَتَامَى وَالْمَسَاكِينَ. And the poor. Try to give charity. Think about the poor. Next. وَالْجَارِ ذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْجَارِ الْجُنُوبِ. وَالْجَارِ ذِي الْقُرْبَى refers to your near neighbor and it refers to your distant neighbor. What's intended by your near neighbor and your distant neighbor? Meaning your Muslim neighbors and your non-Muslim neighbors, your close neighbors and your far neighbors. It's very important that we ensure that our communities are strong. We have to ensure that we as Muslims give an example to one another. I mentioned the story before, but I'll repeat it for the benefit of those who have not heard it. Anybody here heard of Abdullah ibn Mubarak? Abdullah ibn Mubarak, very famous scholar of hadith. Abdullah ibn Mubarak, he lived in a locality where, there were a lot of Muslims, but there were also non-Muslims. There were a lot of Muslims, but there were also non-Muslims. Now what happens? One person comes to this area and he says, I want to get a home. I want to buy a home. I want to buy a home. So he's going from place to place. Where can I buy a home? Where can I go? And eventually people direct him to this particular house. And that person happened to be the neighbor of Abdullah ibn Mubarak. So this newcomer, he comes to the house, he knocks on the door, the person opens it, and they begin negotiating a price. That how much are you selling your home for? He said, I'm selling my home for 20,000 coins. 20,000 coins. He said, 20,000 coins, this mud hut, you want me to pay 20,000 coins? Are you out of your mind? I wouldn't even pay a fraction of this price. And the person responded, he says, that this home costs not that much. But my neighbor, he is Abdullah ibn Mubarak. He's such an amazing neighbor that unless I get this much money, I will never get rid of my home because I don't want to lose such a valuable neighbor. Now, imagine how amazing of a neighbor he was that the neighbor wasn't willing to get rid of his home unless he got so much. Nowadays, our neighbors, they're like, listen, half price, I need to get out of this town. You know what? I can't be living next to these people. Nighttime, there's so much noise. Daytime, the whole block is stinky. What's going on? You know, what are the qualities that we are showing as neighbors? Right? That's something that we need to remember, that no matter what we do as Muslims, we reflect the badge of Islam.